Welcome to Culture Over Coffee, a podcast focused on improving company culture and fostering employee engagement. Every week, we chat with experts and thought leaders about the latest proven practices to reduce regrettable turnover, increase productivity, and retain key customers. So pour a cup of your favorite brew and join us. I'm your host, Beth Sunshine, SVP at Up Your Culture. Accountability is a big focus in a lot of organizations right now, but trust, not so much. And when accountability rises without trust, it doesn't strengthen your culture. It changes how people behave inside it. I was talking with a leader recently who shared that his organization has gotten a lot clearer on expectations, which is good, but something still felt off. People were hitting their numbers, deadlines were getting met, but the energy had changed. There was less initiative. What he said is there was less ownership, more checking the box. And that's when we started talking about trust, because you can increase accountability and still lose something in the process. Let me show you what this looks like more broadly. In 2023, about 70% of employees said that they trusted company leadership. That has dropped to 56% by this year. Now, at the same time, only 44% of employees say that their manager always follows through. So nearly half the workforce doesn't fully trust leadership, and many are experiencing inconsistency and follow through, things like that. That's more than just a perception issue. It's a real credibility gap. And that gap shows up in some pretty specific ways. Organizations are getting more serious about accountability. I think we see that across the board, but they're not increasing trust alongside it. So accountability is there, but without trust, it doesn't create commitment. It creates more compliance. So I want to talk about what this actually looks like when it shows up. When trust is low, people still follow the rules, but they don't necessarily believe in them. So behavior starts to shift. People do what's required. They avoid risk. They stop going above and beyond, but they do what's required. And you can really feel the difference. People stop asking, how can I help? And they start asking, what do I need to do? And without trust, people get more careful. They second guess decisions. They wait for direction. They avoid putting themselves out there. And we saw clearly in the data that low trust leads to hesitation. It also leads to reduced initiative and more self-protection. So the energy doesn't disappear, it just gets redirected into playing it safe. And then there is consistency. Only 44% of employees say that their manager always follows through. And 86% of employees who wouldn't recommend their company say that leaders don't consistently follow through. What does that create? People don't know what to rely on. Standards feel uneven, values start to feel optional. And over time, people stop believing it's going to be consistent, because inconsistency doesn't just frustrate people, it erodes belief. When I step back and look at this, it's actually pretty understandable. Leaders feel pressure to raise the bar. So the instinct is we need more accountability, we need higher standards. But what often gets skipped are the things that make accountability actually work, like modeling behavior, clear communication, consistent follow through. Trust doesn't break down all at once, it erodes gradually. And you can't enforce your way to a strong culture. If people don't believe in the people doing the enforcing, it won't work. There's another layer to all of this. Only about 1 in 3 middle managers fully trust leadership. And that matters more than most people realize, because they're the ones translating all of this: strategy, expectations, accountability, culture. So if the people enforcing accountability don't fully trust it themselves, it starts to break down at every level. So let's reframe this. Real accountability isn't just about standards. It's standards plus trust plus consistency. Without trust, accountability feels like surveillance. With trust, it feels like alignment, because accountability works when people believe it's fair, consistent, and grounded in something real. So what do you actually do with all of this? Start by modeling the standard. Values have to show up in leadership behavior, not just in statements. And then focus on follow through. Not most of the time, every time, because small inconsistencies add up quickly. Apply accountability evenly, no exceptions for high performers, and close communication gaps because clarity reduces skepticism. At the end of the day, trust isn't built through what we say. It's built through what people experience over and over again. So here's what I want to leave you with. Accountability is important, but on its own doesn't strengthen culture. Without trust, it creates compliance and caution. And if people don't trust leadership, they won't fully commit, no matter how clear the expectations are. If you want to understand how trust, accountability, and engagement are really showing up across organizations today, check out the Engage 2026 Company Culture Report. It will give you a clear view of where trust is strengthening, where it's eroding, and what leaders can do about it. Thanks so much for spending time with us on Culture Over Coffee. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe and join us for every episode. For more helpful information about company culture and employee engagement, visit us at upyourculture.com.